Hello and welcome. Today's video is all about the new Hermes Spring Summer 2022 collection. Before I get into it, I just want to acknowledge, I know my speech might sound a little bit different and the shape of my face might look a little bit different, and that's because I'm wearing a dental splint now. So I have this splint over my bottom teeth and it's meant to pull my jaw forward. I have TMJ issues, so I'm working on that with this. So that's why things might sound and look just a little bit different. I'm still getting used to it, so I hope it won't bother you too much. In today's video, I'm going to be lip swatching and doing some comparisons for two of the shades from the new Hermes Spring Summer lip collection. So if you'd like to see that, just keep on watching. So let's get right into the lip swatches right away. So the first shade here is Beige D'Eau, and this is described as a translucent sunny beige. And I think it has a little bit of tiny little shimmer particles in it as well. This is what Beige D'Eau looks like in the bullet. And let's see how it looks on the lips. So there's Beige D'Eau on the lips. I think that's beautiful. It's actually giving me more than I was expecting when I swatched it on my hand. I swatched it on my hand before I tried it, and this is my first time with it on the lips, and I think it's really beautiful. I think it gives that kind of mod look, that kind of 50s, 60s style look. It's a nice pale lip, but it has a bit of warmth in it that I really appreciate, because I usually like to add just a little bit of warmth to my lips to really bring them to life. And I find it kind of livens up my face a bit, even if I'm not going for much of a color on the lips. Just adding that little bit of warmth really helps. It felt really beautiful going on. Really just like a nice smooth balm, really glided on the lips. And I think it built up a little bit too. So you could go really sheer with it and get almost no color payoff, but you can go for a few layers as well, and it just builds up to this really beautiful color. Now for comparisons for Beige D'Eau, I have two of them. So they're both Hermes lipsticks. This is Beige D'Eau from last year's Spring Summer collection. This is a satin lipstick, whereas the ones this year are all that kind of sheerer formula. They're called shiny lipsticks. So last year's is going to have a lot more pigment and look more like a traditional lipstick, but I wanted to be able to look at the tones there as well. Beige D'Eau is a lot more pink, I think, than the Beige D'Eau from this year. Beige D'Eau is a lot shinier. They're very different like formulas and finishes, but the tones are also quite different, although they're both called beiges. And then the other Hermes beige lipstick that I wanted to compare is Beige D'Eau. I just have this in a refill, so I'm just going to swatch this along with the other two. So there's Beige D'Eau, Beige D'Eau, and Beige D'Eau from this year. Beige D'Eau is the same satin formula as Beige D'Eau from last year, so they're similar in that sort of opacity. They give quite a lot of pigment, but this one I would say in tone is actually a little bit more similar to Beige D'Eau from this year, because the Beige D'Eau is just a little bit warmer, a little bit more orangey, peachy. Especially when you look at it next to Beige D'Eau, it looks really like quite dusty and pink when you compare it to these other tones. Now, if Beige D'Eau isn't giving you enough in terms of color and impact on the lips, you could pair it with a liner. So I'm going to pair it with the Victoria Beckham 01 lip definer just around the outer edges of the lips, just so it'll add a little bit of definition, a little bit more color. So there it is with that liner, and there's the liner swatch next to it. The liner is a little bit more pink than the lipstick tone, but the lipstick is so sheer it's going to take on a lot of the color that's already in your lips. So most people have quite a bit of pink in their lips. I definitely do. So some of that comes through, and I think that the pink in the lips mixed with that sort of more beigey, warm, orangey nude shade can kind of come to a color that's quite similar actually to the liner. So I think it all works together really nicely. So I'm going to take this one off and then put on the other shade so we can take a look at that. And now let's do the shade Orange Capucine. This is what the shade looks like in the bullet. It's a brighter orange than I was expecting in the bullet. I was expecting a bit more of, I think it's described as a rosy orange. So I was just expecting it to be a little bit more pink leaning, or like more toward that coral side, but I'm not disappointed to see how orange it is. That's what it looks like swatched on the hand. And let's see how it looks on the lips. And here's Orange Capucine on the lips. It is described as a luminous and sparkling rosy orange. So it's interesting when I look at it swatched on my hand, I can see that it actually looks quite similar to Beige D'Eau, which is great. I think Beige D'Eau is a totally unique color. I have nothing else like it. I've never seen another lipstick like Beige D'Eau. So I'm very happy now to have this kind of more sheer version of that type of a really kind of, it is a rosy orange. I think it still lives in the orange family. I don't really think of it as a coral. It's just a unique type of orange shade. And I think it's really beautiful. Same formula as the Beige D'Eau, went on beautifully. It just kind of glides on and feels like a really nice, nourishing balm. And it has that same traditional Hermes fragrance that is in their lip products and their blushes as well. I did have a couple of other comparisons for Orange Capucine though. I didn't know what the word Capucine meant, and I looked it up, and it's actually nasturtium in French. So that was kind of interesting. So it's, I guess, meant to evoke the nasturtium flower. And I have it here swatched next to the Orange Boîte shade from Hermes. I only have that in the matte formula, so again, it's going to be quite a bit more pigmented. So there's Orange Boîte. And then I also wanted to take a look at it next to Lisa Eldridge's Dragon Gloss, because I thought they might be in sort of similar family, because although Dragon is quite an orangey color, I've always felt that it has a little bit of rosiness in it as well. And I think that they look related for sure. The Orange Boîte is more straight up orange. I think it has a lot more yellow in it, which puts it more in the sort of straightforward, straight up orange category, whereas these other ones are definitely more rosy orange type shades. I just wanted to share what the brand says about this formula, because I think it's a completely new lip formula for them. It's not the same as their Satins, and I don't think it's exactly the same as their Poppy Lip Shine. I don't have that, but they call that the Poppy Shine, and these are called shiny lipsticks. So I think it's just, there's a slight variation in the formula there. And I think it's a really beautiful formula. I love the feeling of it. I think it depends on the shade you get, how much color you're gonna get from it. You could see there wasn't a whole ton of color from the beige shade, but it's a very light shade anyway. But I think you can see that here with the orange shade, the more bright, vibrant, sort of saturated shade, that you actually do get a really nice amount of color from it. I think the formula is unique among what I have. There's more going on with it, more pigmented than something like a tinted balm, but I think it's less pigmented than something like the Lisa Eldridge Luxuriously Lucent formula. So it's somewhere in between there, and I think it's really lovely. In talking about the collection, Hermes says, the Rouge Hermes Spring Summer 2022 collection introduces 3 new limited edition colors: Beauty Objects by Pierre Hardy, lacquered with vibrant and impressionistic colors. A palette inspired by a garden filled with light and water. And then when they're talking about the formula, its melting texture provides a translucent and luminous finish with a fresh feel similar to a delicately tinted veil of light on the lips. It's a beautiful description, and I think as florid and kind of elevated as it is a good description of the formula. So I think that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I decided not to get the 3rd shade, Rose Nymphia. It's described, I think, as a pink with a hint of lilac in it. I decided not to get that because it's not a type of shade that I gravitate to, and I didn't need to add it in. So I'm really happy with the 2 shades that I have. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments below. I always love to see those. And if you'd like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I would love for you to do so. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.